Well, here we are, typical Reloved Guitars mercy mission. In this box here I have a rescued creature, and I have a job now of getting said creature to a safe place without said murderous cats returning to kill it before I do. So I'm going to attempt to sneak my way over the wall through the old cow field. This is the giveaway bit. This is going to alert my cats, and now the job is to sneak my way down the field without running into Maurice or Yumi. Get chased by one of them. So far so good. Instead, so we have the little creature in here. It's a little field mouse. So with a bit of luck, I shall be able to release him just far enough away to give him a head start. Okay. Now quite often I do this, and just as I'm releasing these little things, you find Maurice jumps out of the hedge exactly where I've just released. It's all looking good so far. It's a familiar release spot. Now, get a bit of kind of crazy jumping around action. Easy, chaps. Easy, easy. I need you to come out. Get you by the tail. There we go. Say hello for the camera before we set you free. Alright, you've had a bit of a traumatic time, but it's all going to be absolutely fine. Okay, so I think you can tell you are somewhere where you really would like to be. Off you go. It gives me immense pleasure to do that. Goodbye. See you again, probably. Okay, so there you go. Just another little interlude in the Reloved Guitars animal husbandry out in our lovely little world of wildness. You see where the cows like to destroy the hedge. We had a bullock drop down dead here the other day. I still don't know what caused it. Not that I would know, but I got up came out of the shed, and he was dead right there next to the water trough. Which water trough, by the way, is also where I very often release frogs. Although it's not really a great environment for them, they can just about get out. Frogs around here seem to just like to be in the undergrowth, or the damp undergrowth. So this is for those who know the story, this is the surviving half an ash tree, bless it. That's where it was torn out. Unfortunately, this is where we used to have a kind of whole bunch of boughs that leaned over our garden, but that snapped off in the rain the other day, and you can see the sort of the remains of where it's done that. But we're still grateful for this bit, and even that chunk where it's been ripped off. Look how much growth is happening up there. It's trying to regrow from all its little sprouts. I think it's amazing, even on the side of the tree there. So, anyway, woo, this area here potentially under threat from development. I don't know. Hopefully it won't come anywhere this far, but stuff going on in the village about where that development should be or where it shouldn't be. Slam. So there you go. Little diversion. There's my animal rescue box. Put down here for yet another time. And yeah, I thought I'd take you on that little journey. I went back in the Reloved Guitars place, and actually all I've been doing this morning, I've got Malcolm coming over. We're going to do some jamming and chatting, because I'm going to be standing in deputising for their guitarist, one of their other guitarists, their rhythm guitarist, next month down in St Ives. So I volunteered, or I've offered to do that, which will be cool. But I've just been planning out the next MG. So I've got the blank here, nice piece of seasoned, well, 3 pieces of Eckie, but seasoned, so there's absolutely no differential drying, which I've got on my first one, but this is nice and stable. I've got another one down here, which I can't really tell so much because that's not been properly, well, it's not been completely thicknessed, but judging by that, that's also very stable. There's no change. There's a little gap there, but that's because I don't think I levelled all that anyway. You can see the writing still on it. There's not been thicknessed. But yeah, that's probably going to be a left-hander. That's probably going to be a right-hander. So that's number 3, and that's number 4 in this series. And then I've also got, courtesy of some wood that I bought the other day from Steve. This is ash, I believe, and 1-piece ash body for a Strat. Look at that. Very, very nice. So that's kind of ready to go, and I've got a secret feeling that I'm going to save my money up and put some really spectacular pickups in that. But, sorry, what I've also got in this untidy place is part of that haul that Steve sold me, is 2 bits of ash. So there's at least 3 bodies in there, and they're all 1 piece, so it's some spectacular bodies, and I haven't really thought about what I'm going to do with those yet. Here's the companion neck that's going to go with that MG, I call it, Maurice guitar, as opposed to the standard guitar. And this came out of one of the late Graham's kind of weird monstrosities, that gold SG thing, where he originally cut the neck out of a vintage SG, turned it upside down and turned it round and shoved it in the other end of the SG. It was an absolute monstrosity, but amazingly the thing played beautifully, so I kept it for a while and lent it out to a couple of people for a novelty. But it was incredibly impossible to play because it was totally neck heavy. You had to have a rope holding it to the floor, which was ridiculous. Anyway, I was going through, got rid of a couple of those old sort of test guitars and stuff, and I was thinking what to do with this, and I cut out, I thought, well, since the neck's already been kind of cut out once and reused, I thought I'm going to just cut out the remaining, or the neck, and a bandsawed it out. And what I've got there, as you can see, is a sort of combination of various kind of bits that he did with resin, various resin and different woods. But actually I cut it out in such a way that it's nice and solid, and I will have no real difficulty using it in this baby. And then that will be perfectly Reloved Guitars, because that's recycled Eckie, and this will be not only a recycled neck, but this will be a little bit of the late Graham playing again. And you can see I took the vintage headstock, just cut down a little bit with my, gone now, it's stuck up there, there he is, my little template I have for my headstock shape for SGs, and there you go, it's reshaped, and I will redo the front of that. But I think I'm just going to stain this down, even though it's a 3-piece neck with sort of, yes, it's unevenly cut. So we've got 1 piece at the edge here, another piece in the middle to the edge, and then a whole piece this way. So it's 3 odd used up pieces with a heel insert down there. I don't mind. I'm going to darken this right down with kind of a rosewood stain or something like that, so it'll end up matching this. I'll shellac it too, and then the whole thing will probably again be finished with satin nitro. But this will be a Maurice headstock in black. So yeah, it took ages to sand that down, of course, but I think it's worth doing. Hey mister, come say a quick hello. Hello, he says. Oh, sorry. How are you doing? He was so funny last night. About midnight, I stood out on the deck and I fired my torch light, as I sometimes do. I think I came out and shut the shed. And I stood on the deck, firing off my torch light right down into the corner of that field, and I saw this this pair of glittery animal eyes looking back at me in the dark. And quite often, it may be, sometimes it's cows in the forest, or sometimes it's even foxes. But this pair of eyes kind of looked at me and then started trotting his way across the field. So he was right down in that corner, and he came trotting up the way and all the way up to here and over the fence. This is some haul yesterday from down there. I checked with the farmer and said, do you mind if I pinch the remains of the logs and stuff that you've left in the field, because that's where they pulled down the ash trees last year. So I've got plenty of big nice chunks that I can keep going getting, and they will be my bonfire stuff. Anyway, Maurice, come and say hello. There's never enough of you on video, that's what people tell me. Come on, you handsome boy. Let's do you from ground level. You don't have to sniff the camera. You just have to star for it. There we are. Look at that little pom-pom tail. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, here comes the killer hunter. Yumi, the sister. Yeah, your little captive has just gone back to the wild. No doubt you'll bring him back later on. Probably in less good nick than he was a minute ago. She's distinguishable by the fact that she's got the tail and he hasn't. But also he's shaggier than her, and they've got completely different characters. She's incredibly needy and persistent when she wants you to pay her attention. He's much more, he's kind of cooler. He's not so needy, but he has his moments. So like when he comes in the shed, he absolutely wants me to pay him attention. But look, isn't he sweet? They both are, brother and sister. And they have two sisters, another two sisters who live 2 doors down, and they have little stumpy tails, but they very rarely see them, and if they do, they have no idea really that they're related, which I find really funny. And the other sisters live down in the house on the corner there behind the blue fence, and yeah, they sometimes come out into the field and they occasionally meet and hiss at each other. Anyway, just a little interlude there before I get back to either hammocking or I think just waiting for Malcolm to turn up. But I'll see you later. It wouldn't be fair to shut up shop without introducing you to Sid. Hello Sid. He's our other he's got grass on his back. He's our other long stay prisoner. He adopted us about 15, 16 years ago, so he's pretty. All righty, I'm being nice to you. He's pretty ancient, but he did. His family moved away. They lived across the road, and they just had to move out or whatever, and they left him. So he kind of appeared in our backyard in the grass here, and he was living in one of the dumpy bags we had in the garden at the time, and he just moved in really. And he's incredibly old. He's about 17 in human years, if not more. But he amazes us every year by keeping going, even though he kind of looks like an old guy at times. He looks pretty frail, but he's amazing. He outlived our first cat that we had here. They were sort of partners in crime, and she didn't make it very long, and he's lived 6 years, or at least more than her. Yes, and he's a nice old boy. He had about I think maybe 3 months when he was the only cat in the house, and then then Yumi and Maurice's mother moved in as a kitten, and he had to adapt to that. She's since voted with her feet and moved out, but it's kind of stable now. Maurice, look at him, he's Sphinx boy. Maurice, Sid, and Yumi, wherever she's gone. That's sort of the happy family. The house is probably just about big enough for 3 cats only. Now it's slightly messed up occasionally when another stray who's kind of adopted us, we call him Fat Face, whenever he turns up, that makes 4. And then once every year, until recently, their mother has reappeared every 9 months after she clears off. And then for a brief period of time we've got about 5. That doesn't work, and so their mum gets cheesed off again and leaves, inevitably leaves again. Ever since they became teenagers, she just wanted them out of her life, and if she couldn't get them out of her life, she took herself out of their life. But look at that boy, isn't he such a sweetie? He's hot, he's got too much fur. Anyway, I thought I would bring you a bit more pussycats than guitars, because occasionally people say we need more Maurice rather than less. He's going to find a cool place under the plants. Okay, and this isn't a real thing. This is Claire's cast iron pig. Oh, Sid, with your little cries. Sweetie. Sid's unique in that you only have to grab his fur and tons of it comes out. Look, he sheds more than any other animal I have ever known. Just handfuls of the stuff. All the local birds around here must have their nests feathered with Sid fur. Mustn't they, Sid? I don't know how he keeps himself so white. Probably by shedding it all. Okay, that's it for now. See you again soon.